God of War PS4 sells 23 million units ahead of Ragnarok's release. God of War has now sold a total of 23 million copies across its PS4 and PC versions, Sony confirmed earlier today. This means the title has sold roughly 3.5 million more units since August 2021, when Sony issued its previous sales update. Of course, with the release of God of War Ragnarok now just days away, interest in the series is only growing, so there could be even more copies on their way to consumers who want to catch up in time for the sequel. The previous God of War game, released in 2018, was one of the biggest titles ever released exclusively for PlayStation, selling 23 million units cumulative to date, read the earnings report. We expect similar performance from this new title as well. PlayStation and Santa Monica Studios' critically acclaimed God of War 2018 has now sold more than 23 million copies to date, according to the latest Sony earnings report. The new sales figure is up from the 19.5 million copies sold as of October 2021, with the increase likely owed in part to the PC version of God of War being released earlier this year, that saw Sony's biggest launch on the platform to date. God of War Ragnarok's imminent release may be another reason for the boost in sales, and Sony is expecting the sequel to perform just as well as its predecessor. The introduction of the PC version at the start of this year will have given God of War a steady sales boost as it opened the game up to a new audience. However, it still pales in comparison to the sales juggernaut that is the Marvel's Spider-Man series on PS5, PS4. Between the first game and Miles Morales, the two games have sold a whopping 33 million copies. With Marvel's Spider-Man 2 set for PS5 next year, that stat is only going to dramatically increase. You'll visit all 9 Norse realms. Speaking of the 9 realms, you'll be able to visit all of them in God of War Ragnarok. In God of War 2018, Kratos and Atreus were able to travel to and explore Alfheim, Helheim, and Midgard. Muspelheim and Niflheim were explorable, but were mostly used for the arena and roguelite mini-games respectively. Jotunheim was also in the first game, but only briefly at the end in a completely linear sequence. Santa Monica Studio confirmed that not only will you have reasons to return to the realms you've already been, but that you'll also travel to Asgard, Svartalfheim, and Vanaheim in Ragnarok. It's currently unclear if Muspelheim and Niflheim will be fully explorable this time around, or if they'll have new versions of their old mini-games. God of War Ragnarok cast. The incredible Christopher Judge returns as Kratos with Sunny Suljic as Atreus. You can check out the rest of the cast below, with some familiar faces, and some new characters whose part of play in the Norse saga remains to be seen. Notable additions include Richard Schiff, Toby Ziegler on The West Wing as Odin, and Ryan Hurst, Beta on The Walking Dead as Thor. Freya Danielle Baisuti. Thor Ryan Hurst. Odin Richard Schiff. Angerboda Leia Hayes. Tyr Ben Prendergast. Mimir Alistair Duncan. Sindri Adam Harrington. Brock Robert Craighead. Durlan Usman Ally. The single-camera shot returns. One of the most memorable aspects of God of War 2018 is its single-shot camera, which never cuts away from the game, even for its loading screens. This feature is coming back in Ragnarok, and the camera will follow our heroes in much the same way. Cory Barlog isn't directing it. Cory Barlog, the director of God of War 2 and God of War 2018, is taking on an advisory role for God of War Ragnarok. The game is instead being directed by God of War veteran Eric Williams, who has worked on every previous God of War game, including 2018, in some capacity. If you loved God of War 2018 and the director shift is making you nervous, don't panic. All God of War games shift directors. In the franchise's near 20-year history, Barlog is the only person to direct 2 games in the franchise. In an interview with IGN, Barlog even credits Williams with helping him determine how much of the original trilogy DNA should carry forward into the Norse era. The sales update was coupled with the news PS5 shipments have reached a total of 25 million, but Sony has a long way to go if it wants to hit its yearly fiscal target. Are you one of the 23 million with a copy of God of War to your name?